What is up? What is up? It is your boy, RC Apologist, and, well, welcome to Theological Discussion with your host. Hold up a second. Yeah, I did say my name already.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens when we
it's
get
who you
these...
are and it's what you do, so you deserve twice the recognition.
Exactly. Now, for those of you who are wondering what that voice is, no, it's not a voice in my head, and no, it's not a co-host. This is a very, and I should say, extravagant special guest that is joining us for this particular episode. Yes, one of my favorite words, particular, that I keep noticing, that I keep using. Who has joined us on Theological Discussion. Now, of course, there could be a room where we try to do what the show indicates, as we've tried to do with others before, but I did want to make an exception to spread one thing, and I think that is interesting. Now, this particular guest is the creator, as I believe my information leads me to conclude, of a new furry news site. Now, of course, I can hear some of the people saying, "We get it, RC Apologist. You become a furry. Just shut up about it." I'm like, okay, I'll keep it on the download. But I do want to note one thing: you do have a lot of things that are out there, and I think that the fact that not only is this particular furry news site something that's interesting, but I think something that people, especially those who are, either new to the whole thing or just like, wait, what's a furry, could easily access some data and some news and some highlights and some information that can come from this site, sort of like a new kind of wiki, or I don't know. We'll get to what they would compare themselves as, but for now, we are going to be introducing our guest, Ben, and the guest's name would be Haven Fusky. So
that's me.
Haven,
Hi.
welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you. So, question:
Sure.
How do you feel so far?
So far so good. Day 3, and I haven't fallen over yet, so that's a good sign. Yeah. So far so good.
So let's go over this. Let's just go right into it. What is your site? What is this news site that is called Good Fur News?
Good Fur News. Yeah. So goodfurnews.com is a website where the focus is to highlight the good of the furry fandom. And it is definitely meant to be a resource for all types of people, whether they're furry or not. So if you want to learn more about the fandom, there will be resources there for that. Actually, I had a couple links that I forgot to put on there that I just remembered for that sort of thing. But mostly it's for the fandom itself, by and for the fandom, to highlight the good of furry, whether it's an individual who's very good at one thing, whether it be art or a certain fursuiter personality, or we call them personalities. Twitch streamers. We have. I don't want to give it all away because I have so many articles that are about to come out. But yeah, it's just meant to highlight what some and hopefully most consider good sides of the fandom.
All right. So I remember, I don't know if it was in a tweet or if it was in something that's on the actual page itself, but I recall hearing something about it being like an or it's not part of this thing called the call-out culture. Now, me being an idiot, I might be familiar with the thing or may not. I just never heard this term. What is call-out culture, and why is this like one of the things that's like,
yeah. So for me, what I consider to be call-out culture is sort of, let's say, you go out to dinner, right? And you have the worst service of your life. Like the staff is horrible, like the service itself was horrible, the food was horrible, all this other stuff. And most rational people, I think, maybe it has no bearing in rationality. Maybe it's just maturity. I don't know. I don't know what causes it. I think that's a discussion with somebody perhaps that has a psychology degree. But in terms of my experience with it, it's say you go out to the restaurant, you have really bad service. I, as an individual, would approach the manager and say, "Look, this was not good." Maybe write a feedback card. Um, give them like your opinion and maybe some advice on how to fix things, whatever. And then that's it. And then you probably don't go back, or you go back a while later to see if it's changed. Maybe, right? That's how most people do it. What I found in it, and it definitely exists heavily on Twitter, and that's where a lot of us kind of exist in a lot of ways within the furry fandom. It's just somehow we all migrated there. What I find is instead of going to an individual, like you have a problem with something, instead of going to the individual and saying, "Hey, I have an issue with this particular thing. I see that this is something that could be problematic. Why don't we discuss and change that?" It's instantly a call out tweet, and usually it's done in the form of a subtweet or what have you, where they go, "This person, so and so and so and so," and they broadcast it out to the world to see. So what ends up happening is rather than being able to focus on the actual problem at hand, like, okay, John Doe, I hear that your steak wasn't cooked well enough. They're now having to deal with 500 people and going to the chef and then immediately going to the chef and saying, "Hey, could you not cook the steak so on such high heat," for example. Instead, now they're dealing with 500 people messaging them, calling them horrible, 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 worst restaurant in the world, or the most horrible person in the world, when all they did was undercook the steak. And that's just, that's kind of sort of simplifying it. But there are things where people are like, "I saw this one thing that you liked this one time in 1992, and now you're a pedophile," or some other horrible sort of thing. And "Hey, everyone," and they do the subtweet and they go, "Hey, everyone, this person liked this thing back in 1992. And so now, so it really can hurt people." And that's where I start getting into issues with call out culture. I think it's good. I think it's important to highlight, to address negativity, to address bad things. I think that's super important. But I think there's a much more productive way of doing it. So my thing is kind of take that, as it were, call out culture and flip it. And instead of saying, "Hey, everyone, there's this horrible person that did this thing this one time," it's, "Hey, here's this really good person that does this thing every day that's being drowned out by all of this negative stuff that may or may not be true. We don't know. I'm not I'm not the one to judge." And let's give them a voice and let's lift their voice up a little bit. And so that's what I'm really, really sorry. I have a lot going on too. That's where I just want to be able to focus is on the positive stuff. And hopefully in our own way we can drown out the negativity, not to take away from the real issues, but making sure that the real issues are addressed accordingly. And it may be something that later on down the line, if there is something that's big enough, we can look at that issue. But my preference is if we're going to address an issue, it has to come with a solution, not just, "Hey, there's a bad thing, everybody freak out." It's collectively say, "Okay, this is a bad thing. Let's get the people involved into a discussion and find a solution for that bad thing." So I think that's another thing that we'll probably touch on as we go along. But right now, it's mainly focusing on what I call "quote unquote" fluff pieces.
Yeah, and I remember we kind of had a discussion on that earlier on Twitter too. It's like you said fluff, I said floof, and then
birds, and it's flap, flop, and then flap,
flop. I know someone by the name of Demetrius the merchant would definitely love the flap pieces. If you're familiar with him, like so. Okay, so that did kind of answer one question I think I was gonna have, like, what was your goal behind this? And I think, as you kind of said, it's to drown out the negativity and to bring out the positive.
Correct.
So yeah, that is a cause. That is a thing I can get behind most certainly, because again, as you said, we don't necessarily want to like eliminate all kinds of room for debate. I think there's times where the bad things should be called out, but that there's limits on how we can do that, and there's actually more productive ways
Right.
that we should do it.
And a personal example actually happened today.
Oh.
There was an issue with a post that I had created, a certain creator, and I'm not going to go into it too much more right now.
Right.
And someone, instead of messaging me directly and saying, "Hey, this person is a problem," they instead did the subtweet and said some things, and I went,
Mhm.
"I have no idea what you're talking about." Like, and they're like, and then I didn't respond right away. I just watched to see kind of how it went, and it, sure enough, people were jumping on, and, "Oh well, so and so said this thing about him this one time," and da 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 da, and I'm like, so now this thing has turned into gossip, and it's starting to it's not addressing the actual problem. It's actually causing another problem, in that you're now tarnishing the site that I just created to be good and inspiring
Right.
into a negative thing. So you just took a positive thing, and with the way that you chose to address that negative thing, have turned it into a negative thing. So, and I tried to, tell them, I'm a person, I make mistakes, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
Just email me. And I said it right there. I said, email me, and 8 hours went by. I didn't hear anything. And then somebody else started the conversation over again. So I was like, at this point, I'm like, okay, well, you're talking about very trivial, but your proof is very trivial. Like, they follow this person on Twitter. Well, uh, somebody could follow, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer on Twitter. It doesn't mean that they're like into what he does. It just means that they want to, like, maybe, I don't know, if he was released someday, know where he is so they can avoid that person. There's a million and one reasons why you could follow someone on Twitter. I will not use Twitter followers as a criteria.
Right.
I'll kind of go a little political for a second. I have an account. I follow Donald Trump on that account. I don't like Donald Trump.
Right.
Sorry, everyone. But, well, not sorry, but it's because I want to see what crazy he's talking about today.
Right.
So, but in their mind, because I follow, by their logic, because I follow Donald Trump, suddenly I'm a red hat wearing, gun toting,
Exactly.
like Donald, all this bad stuff because of someone I followed. So I'm never ever going to use the logic of, well, they follow so and so on Twitter. Like, no, like that's so junior high that it's insulting. So
By that analogy, by that example, the atheists I follow on Twitter, that must mean I'm an atheist or something.
right,
Like,
or maybe
I mean,
somebody follows the Pope because he does inspirational quotes every now and then that they get joy out of. Like, who knows? Like, there's a million and one reasons why you follow someone on Twitter. Like, I don't know. The last time I ate a bowl of cereal, and I think I follow cereal companies. So, you can't judge someone by their Twitter followers. And if there's other stuff and there's actual real proof, yeah, I need to see that. But I'm not going to debate a topic or whatever on Twitter in 240 characters, where there's no context, where it's completely disjointed. Email me, get your thoughts out, so then I can respond accordingly with my thoughts, and we can have a real dialogue and exchange and get to the root of it, and then I can make an informed decision on what should or should not be on the website. A lot of, and this one was sort of a one-off. This was somebody I do know, somebody who came recommended. I've worked with them. They've worked with other organizations that I trust. I trust the organizations. I trust the judgment of the organizations. So, I didn't feel the need to like do a deep dive into somebody's history when I felt good about them, right? And their work, the work that they do, makes a lot of people smile, and it fulfills that good for sort of vibe. So I was like, yeah, just put it up there. Let's talk. Let's chit chat. We had a little exchange, and I put them on the website. So
you got like that good
more to that
vibrations.
person beyond the superficial sort of view that I took of it, then thanks for catching it, and I'll respond accordingly. But I'm not going to respond the way that you want me to respond when you use call out culture to get the response. So
There you go.
Yeah.
And hey, I like that.
I'm gonna step off my soapbox now.
No, you're good. So, yeah, just in case y'all haven't checked it out and y'all want to, the website is www.goodfur. And I wonder if you did this as a pun, kind of.
Yeah. So
you furries and your puns.
Our puns, yes, yeah. So
good.
It's the Midwesterner in me, like fur for, yeah.
Good fur, FUR, goodfurnews.com.
Yeah.
So go there and you can check out some of the news articles that are on there, as well as do a thing called Buy Good for News a coffee, because it uses that Ko-Fi thing that I keep hearing about, but I never really understand it. But
I will tell you, it's interesting. I didn't know much about it either, and actually, the only reason that it was there is because I was like, okay, down the line, I'm going to have to pay for hosting and this and that and the other. So I created the account and I was testing out the widget, and I forgot to remove the widget when I went live with the website, and I had nothing on there yet. It was like a welcome message, basically. And then next thing I knew, like people bought coffees for me and for the site. I'd say for the site, because most of the money goes back into the hosting costs. Maybe an actual cup of coffee for me, but maybe. But as long as the site's running and taken care of, then I'm okay. But I was like, yeah, I need to wait until I get some content on here.
Right.
Prove that it's going to be worth it or whatever. And then 3 people bought coffees, and I was like, well, guess I'll leave it. So I'm already doing something right. But yeah, it was a complete fluke that ended up working out, and so we'll at least be here for the month of February too.
There you go. So yeah, if y'all want to help with that, just feel free to donate to the give a coffee, buy him coffee, because it works for everybody except me, since I can't have caffeine for
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
I cannot imagine a life like that.
Well, being epileptic kind of does suck when it comes to like.
It's best that you don't. My imagination does not stretch far enough to not see a world without coffee or caffeine.
For me, I could do without coffee. Just the one thing I do miss though is the Red Bull. To me, that was my favorite drink.
Yeah, I'm sitting here drinking an energy drink right now. Actually.
Yeah. To me, nothing. Like I tasted Monsters and all those. I'm like, who put cough syrup in this thing? Is what I would usually say. But I don't know. I guess everyone has their own preferred taste.
Not a promotion, but I'm actually more of a fan of Rockstar.
Yeah, there's one I tried. I don't recall its taste though. Like,
I actually used to work with. I didn't work with the guy. I worked with his mom that created it. Like the guy that created it, I worked with his mom. So he used to bring in cases of the stuff to the office when they first started out. And oh man, I was like, thank you.
So you got like the early exclusive.
I got you right, exactly. I was probably their guinea pig. They're like, let's see what happens when this dude drinks it.
like imagine, like they came in with the case, I don't know, let's say this happens, like, okay, let's sprinkle a little bit of some crack in here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm super energized today.
Okay, my work's all done. Can I go?
All right. So we've gone over a bit on the show, and we got a live stream commenter, Ken, saying theological discussion about coffee and Red Bull. Hey, you can't get any better with something about coffee and Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull gives you wings. Angels have wings. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Theological association.
Exactly.
Done and done.
But so let me see. Well, I had it. This is what always happens to me. I have like a little brain fart that occurs where I just like forget what I was about to.
No, I totally feel your pain. I do interviews, for the website, and I did my first voice interview. I was interviewing somebody through voice chat yesterday, and I was sitting there just like okay, I got a question. So I kind of reverted back to text only for the time being.
Yeah. So then let's So let's go over, I guess, just you yourself
Mhm.
then, because we talked about your thing, but we haven't really gotten a chance to know the man behind the project.
Little
Uh, or boy, I always call it usually, in my, at least in my sense, with the culture we're in now,
Mhm.
to make sure I be safe and not to misassume genders, I just call people boy, as in with an I, not to be confused with the Y, because
That can
there is a
still fail
distinct.
you.
There's a
Yeah, that can still fail you. Um, my recommendation and what's been recommended to me is don't use pronouns. Or masculine, feminine associated terms like boy or girl or uh, the circles I run in, we call each other girl like all the time. But
Mhm.
um, uh, you know, generally speaking, don't use them. And then the best one that I got was from a friend of mine was when in doubt, they it out. The singular they them. So if you're referring to a person and you're not sure of gender because you've never met them or otherwise, just say they them. So there you go. A fun little tip for you.
I didn't even know
I
that,
take
and
no
yet I
offense,
did it one
just so you
time.
know, just so you know, I take no offense to being gendered. So, um,
Mm,
but
understand.
if you have other guests that, yeah, you
Yeah,
might
understood.
be aware. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, you learn
normally,
something new every day. We're already learning things.
yeah, like I normally the reason why I normally use like boy with the I, like that whole kind
Mm.
of thing, is number one. I saw that one abridged series of Food Wars, and the guy would just call everyone that, be like boy.
Well, and we live in meme culture too.
Yeah, that too.
So, I
And
mean, and if you're a lot of what you're ingesting is from the internet, you're going to see all sorts of things that people don't necessarily associate with gender. It's just a
yeah,
they're just like, ah, it's just a word.
because I
Like,
get that also from the. I think I also got that from the furries. Was that particular
well, yeah.
saying?
Well, there's the one with SpongeBob, right?
Yeah,
Meme, and he's like, deep breath, boy.
boy.
Yeah, that's the one that yeah, that's what comes to mind for me when you say boy. Yeah.
Though the first time I ever heard that wasn't SpongeBob or anything, it was actually Sherbert Shenanigans.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
good old Sherbert, man,
I like
was the one that
sugar.
do it. Oh yeah, very very cool guy. I wish I could
Yeah,
meet him one day.
yeah.
But yeah. So then, and also to go along with the boy statement was like the whole. You remember? I don't know if you remember Good Burger. Uh, the all there was a it was a movie, but before that it was a show, a skit on all that.
Ah, that's ringing a bell. That's
And
yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
there was that one song that the guy would sing. It's like, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's
Yeah,
a dude, because we're
yeah,
out there. Hey,
yeah,
that's a,
yeah. I remember that. That's pretty funny.
if you ask my family, I annoyed them with that song growing up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because I would sing that to me was just like a good friendship song kind of thing. So, but anyways,
yeah,
so,
yeah. We kind of got sidetracked. I do that.
yeah, about to say because
I'm very bad at making
because
that happen.
we were talking about the scientific determination of BOI being different from BOY, but now we're going to go back on track to you. So, Fusky,
Yeah.
which there's a good question I want to ask about why Fusky instead of Husky. What? Who are you?
So I would be considered a hybrid between a fox and a husky. I came up with that when I was creating my persona because I had a very different interpretation of species when I first started out in furry. So my rationale was foxes were a little more proper, think like Robin Hood, British accents, and they're just a little more. I don't know, they're a little more suave. Where and then on the other end of the spectrum were huskies that were just like derp 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 derp. They're like the floppy ear and just goofy little faces. So I was like, I just kind of want to join these two characteristics together. And so that's when I came up with Fusky. I didn't realize is they have other stereotypes associated with them in the fandom. So that didn't work out too well. I have to. There's a lot of explaining there, but yeah, but that was my my logic or my thought process when creating the persona. So The name Haven actually comes from a convention that I started. I don't talk about that now. And so he was named after that convention. Excuse me. He was sort of the pseudo mascot, but he also worked as a bridge between the regular normal world, if you will, and the furry world. So he was kind of a good introduction into furry for some people. And then we'd have panels about furries and all this other stuff. So it was really neat to kind of see that, and it worked. I think really kind of see people go, oh well, Shane's, that's my real name, by the way, Shane. Is an okay guy, and all right, so he's doing this thing now, so it can't be that bad. So then, it led them to open up and ask questions, and it was really neat to see. So let's see, I got my suit 3 years ago, give or take. And in that time, I've done quite a few things within the fandom. I started a furry club night back in Austin. I have, which unfortunately doesn't run anymore. We lost our venue and weren't able to find another one that was as a that works well enough for us. I wouldn't say not accommodating, but the logistics just didn't work. I volunteer for other furry conventions. I was on BuzzFeed, as you said you saw. We did a little thing with my friend Lumio called Strangers Meet Furries for the First Time. It's a lot of fun to do and to watch. It's really funny though, because it was a couple hour process at least in like 90 something degree weather in fursuit to create the video, and then the video turned out to only be 7 minutes long. So
that's how they do it.
It was, what's that?
That's usually how they do it.
Yeah, I had no idea. I hadn't really been involved in anything quite like that. So, but it was fun, and I really like how it turned out, and I think we got some good positive stuff out there for people to see.
I'm glad it actually turned out well like that, because the first time I encountered something like this where I learned that kind of process, you remember a show called Cosplay Heroes on Sci-Fi?
Yes, I actually have a friend that was featured on that, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Alexa Hart.
Nice. So I'm trying to remember what the
right.
Sorry, hold on. I just turned on my Alexa. Stop.
Oh, you got an Alexa too.
Yeah. She just heard me say her name. I'm like, no, not you.
But to say, I got an Alexa. The thing with mine though, I unplug it to conserve power. With my thing, but I think, what was her name? Yaya Han. The first ever convention I ran into was also on the last day that I ran into her. But the problem was that my friend had seen Cosplay Heroes and hated her.
Oh, really? I don't think I saw her episode.
Like, I think she was like...
Oh, but yeah, I totally recognize her.
Like the first season or second season or something along those lines, but like with I guess the way she was portrayed, like everyone's like being casual about it, and it's like it's fun, but when they show the interviews and all that, it's like saying, it's a serious competition. These people need to stop slacking off and how they're doing it. So basically portrayed her to be like a little heifer. So I go up with my friend to meet her, and first thing that came to my head was she's definitely a lot smaller than me. So they definitely do a lot of deception with TV now that I learned, because I work in television now. But as the thing that made my eyes go wide was that my friend immediately decided to ask, hey, I seen you on the show, but quick question. Are you uses the B word in real life as you are on the show? And I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna die. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Not even okay.
and what was funny though is that she laughed, and at first gestured and said that said that he's not the first person to ever even say those exact words, and she loves hearing that apparently, and then repeating the stories. Like what they do is they go buy them dinner or something for take like to go orders, and they do what y'all did, 2-hour interviews, and apparently they want to do it a way that they can switch it to make it sound like something they want to say. So
right, okay,
I was
yeah, that's like yeah.
But I guess with y'all, it definitely got to be a little more fair because at least
I was waiting for something like that, like something I said earlier in the like maybe forgot to take my microphone off, then suddenly gets dubbed over a conversation that didn't happen or whatever. I was waiting for that. I was like, it's BuzzFeed. I mean, they're gonna do something, and no, everything was pretty much spot on how we did it. So just really short, really short. And there were some things I was like, okay, they're going to have to cut this. And then, but I was like, but they shouldn't. I hope they don't. And they didn't. So I was so very happy about that. The one being in the beginning when we're walking up behind, what was his name? Marcus? No. He was the comedian. He was the only guy. We're walking up behind him and he's like, I don't know. They like to dress up like Star Fox and Beep.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
and I lost it. We had to cut.
I
was laughing so hard after that. Yeah, we had to take a break because it was a good 10 minutes. I mean, I just was crying. I was laughing so hard because I actually have friends that dress up as Star Fox and Wolf. So they instantly came into my into mind when he said that. So I just pictured my two friends not doing that, just what their reaction would be, and I just couldn't handle it. So
that would be an interesting like reaction video. Like if they react to that video, just dressed up in that.
Yeah, like look at each other as Fox and Wolf. They're like, they'd probably just be like shrug and like, yeah, and
which a lot. You're gonna definitely see a lot of Fox and Wolf, especially with the release of Smash Ultimate.
Smash Bros. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's get into something interesting here. So. Obviously, there's misconceptions in the furry fandom. What would you say is your most hated misconception? Like the thing that people like usually say in a lot of how they perceive it, first thoughts. What would yours be as a pet peeve?
Try not to use the word hate as much.
Let's say strongly
dislike. No, I know what you mean. It would definitely have to be that it is solely about a fetish. That it's solely a fetish. It's not. A lot of people will tell you it's not and agree with me that it's not. Not saying that it does not happen, that it does not exist. I will never, ever say that. And I will never speak ill of it because I'm like, to each your own, as long as nobody's getting hurt without consent. There is consent and, whatever, go to town. But it's not the driving force of the fandom. Like some people want to, and not everyone in the fandom does that. Like some people want to assume. Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. What is
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
No. You're good. Trying to think if I want to go with embarrassing or a strangest.
Give me your worst. Bring it on.
Very well, then. Let's go with embarrassing. What's your most embarrassing con moment?
Just one.
If you had to put it on a scale, and you have the most embarrassing of the embarrassing, what would
I can only pick one. Wow. I've been to so many conventions now. How to choose just one? I don't know. I guess I don't embarrass all that easily anymore. Although there was one that I didn't quite recall until a friend showed me the picture. There's a picture of me in fursuit, and there's I believe they're a caribou, some antlered character.
Yeah, caribou.
And I'm basically one leg around their waist and the other like holding their antlers, like I'm trying to climb them. And I don't know what I have no context. I have no recollection of this happening. So maybe I guess that would be it. Like, I don't know. I'm like, oh look, it's Rudolph. Let's go for a ride. I have no idea. I don't know what was going through my
Like, well, hey, it's
but there's a picture, so.
oh, and there's evidence. There's
And
photographic
there's
evidence.
photographic proof. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt. Like, imagine if like Alex Jones tries to do a hit piece on Good Fur News. They like try to bring that up and be like, "All right, so if you see here, this is what's wrong with the furries." That's
right.
they're
Yeah, it's probably in a furry cringe compilation somewhere if it made it out. Yeah.
Which I don't know if you view those as good or bad
The
necessarily.
cringe compilations, I think it again depends on context. Like I've seen some where I'm just like, aw, 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 you know, I'm like, oh, and I know that. Like, oh, I was there for that. Or, you know, if it's it depends on and it probably depends on who's creating it. Like if it's someone outside of the fandom thinking that they're making fun of us,
Mhm.
yeah, we're just gonna be like, no, yeah, no, I remember that. Like, yeah, that was fun. Um, but if it's somebody in, like, then it's got to be pretty bad. If it's somebody in the fandom making one, it's probably something that's actually pretty cringy.
Mm.
I have no examples, but I will trust their judgment on level of cringe.
All right, so scenario. Fast forward into the future
Okay.
but that future's only a year later. The zombie apocalypse has happened,
Oh, fantastic.
and your only teammates surviving with you stored up in a Walmart that is half empty, but yet half full. No trick question there, by the way.
Okay.
And your only teammates.
And the bus leaves at 12:45.
Yep. And your only teammates are Majira Strawberry.
Okay.
We gotta throw in the popular one of them all.
Yeah.
Nos Hyena
Okay. That's a good one.
and Odin Wolf.
Okay, I have to remind myself who Odin is.
Got a lot of blue on. I think green and.
Oh yeah. Okay. I
Oh,
know. Yeah. I know of them. I don't know them. I don't recall ever meeting them.
And you got Kiwi Fox.
And Kiwi. Okay.
So they're with you. You're almost out of supplies.
Okay.
And the only logical conclusion is you got to throw one of them out into the horde that is banging on the door. Who do you throw out?
This is all wow.
Bet you weren't expecting that twist.
Let's see. Oh, I wish I actually knew Odin because that would make it like a level playing field. I've met Nas and I've met the other three. Yeah, Nas, Machira, and Kiwi. Odin, I just don't know. So that might have to be my reason for eliminating him. I'm like, I don't know you. Like, can I trust you? I don't think I know you.
Oh, dang.
So yeah, like, yeah, you can't sit with us. Sorry.
Well, out with Odin, he gets fed to the zombies.
Yeah.
Bonus question.
I'm glad you didn't ask which one I would eat because that'd just be awkward.
No, I would push with that torture. But I do got one bonus question for you though. If you've seen Walking Dead, you know those are some creative deaths. Right. How do you picture that for him it would go down?
How it would go?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. Let's make it like just I want to make it a heroic death, right? Like, I don't think we throw him out. I think he sacrifices himself. And so he wraps himself in the last of the meat products that are in the store. They're spoiled, so we can't eat them. But, you know, zombie bait, right? So he's just like, you know what, you guys, I love you. I want you to live on. So he wraps himself up in like, oh wait, he doesn't have brains, so the meat wouldn't really matter. But he does it anyway because, you know, we're painting a picture. So he wraps himself in meat products, and then he just busts out the front doors, like firing a shotgun, maybe. No, we keep the shotgun because, you know, resources are limited. He just runs out screaming, you know, just bloody Mary, bloody murder. And he goes down just a hero to all the other popuvers.
So that's the thing. Like, if he keeps going for a bit, what would be even worse is like if it's unpredicted, like he manages to get far, and then he ends up meeting with the saviors, and then he gets encountered by Negan.
Oh,
But
see, yeah, but then they eat him because he's covered in meat products.
yeah,
Like, poor guy just can't win for losing.
Oh, I'm already loving this. I got to tell you right now. Oh man! And so let me know if you ever want to like just grab a random guy like me for an interview. If you ever want.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I have no problem with that. So, all right. So
everyone's like, hello, this is a theology stream.
So oh yeah, so that's what I was saying. Jeffrey says so. No theology. That's actually what I was just about to get into. Was like since again, of course, try to make a good. Hold up. To make a good sort of recipe for your soup or your gumbo or whatever kind of discussion you want, the best one always has theology in it, even if it's a sprinkle. So we're gonna sprinkle some, huh?
Colonel Sanders meets Christopher Walken right there.
That reminds me of that one video. It's like, so what you gotta do? Get a free-range chicken. I don't care how you do it. Just get one.
It's a very good Walken. Yeah.
Like that'd be the next segment. It is after the theological one. Like, how many impersonations can we do?
So that's a Friday night couple drinks activity for me.
Oh, this guy says he's been checking periodically. Well, let this be your final period here to check us out, because we are worthy of being checked out. Now, that being said, let's dive right on into it. So, of course, theological discussion where we discuss that. Now, instead of going out with because normally the people I invite would usually be like a Christian or a Muslim or anything where I know their beliefs ahead of time. But as I said before, I don't know you other than you're this furry guy, this Fusky that's a fox and a husky that started an interesting good news thing. Yeah. But here's the good question that then we can just get for an introduction. What do you believe, good sir?
I'm one of those that how do I say it? I know how to say it because I've lived it. I'm not a deeply religious person at all. I grew up in a somewhat religious family. I did Sunday school and all that good stuff, and it was just I found myself asking a lot of questions and not getting answers. And when I did get answers, they didn't make any sense. I do lean more heavily on science and scientific process in terms of, okay, has this been tested, and so on and so forth. What are the results? And okay, that's great, and I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it, or what have you. And so therefore, that's kind of where my gut lies is in that realm.
All right. So let's start from there then. So what were some of these questions then that you had that you feel, because as a person that's an apologist, I deal with these kinds of things all the time.
Concerning make me remember my childhood.
Well, unless you got something like modern or something like that. I mean, of course, it depends on how you think. Huh?
Well, for me, and definitely around the time that I started questioning, because I don't think I said this, I am a gay man. Around the time that I started to question myself in terms of my sexuality and figure that part of myself out, I did one of the first places that I did look was towards religion. And what I kept finding, and to the point where I actually explored multiple religions. And at that time, what I was finding pretty much across the board was every religion was like, no, this isn't good. No, you're not. No, you're evil. And so that I would have to say was probably the biggest to shape me in terms of my beliefs and things like that. So it was a tough struggle because we had the community, around us that we had met and went to church with, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to have this feeling of all of these people now hate me or will hate me if I tell them about this, it's not a good feeling. So that's when I said, thankfully, I had other direction, and it was more a positive direction of don't worry about them. Like, there are plenty of other people in the world, and if that's what's going to close them off to you, then that's probably not. And I started thinking, if that's what's going to close them off to you, then they don't need to be there to begin with. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's definitely an interesting one because that was actually like the first time I became a Christian. That was the first topic I actually kind of explored.
Mhm.
And to me, that was the thing. Like you saying what you say you are. I don't hate you for certainty. I mean,
Right.
that's for sure. In fact, I would love to have you on. In fact, if I ever do find a chance to go up to a con somewhere within an area that you're at, I would love to chill with you.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be my
totally.
thing.
Yeah,
Because you seem like a nice guy.
I try.
Well,
Don't always
you
work,
don't
but I
have to
try.
try. You don't have to try. It's like you do it
You just do
flawlessly.
it.
Yeah, you do it
Yeah.
flawlessly.
Yeah.
And my Christopher Walken was coming back there for a second. But like, I don't know. Then of course, I know a lot of the people that usually follow me disagree with me on this. But of course, of course, a topic I don't like talking about too much. But this is what I affirm. I don't believe that, at least when we study it historically and grammatically, I don't believe that anywhere does the Bible condemn or speak negatively of homosexuality. I think that's a thing that gets invented and added in a later tradition, based off of, for one, modern scholarship that has, for some reason, in my opinion at least, misunderstood what was understood of the term, for example, in the New Testament, Arsena Corti, which is where they try to translate as homosexual in the text, even though the New Testament's the first ever document to ever use the Greek word, and other times that use it afterwards does indicate a different context and sexual annotations.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, there's a lot that I could go in on that, but like, and then Old Testament being the briefest, I think we can make a connection by studying the New Testament. Old Testament always had a connection with shrine temple prostitution.
Right.
Like even some of the people that say, yeah, being gay is a sin, they know and make this connection, that those verses do indicate a condemnation of that. And just to some of the people that watch that are like, listen, like, hey, what the heck are you talking about? Like Merrill F. Unger, who made like the Unger Bible Dictionary, in his dictionary in 1981 says that, about the Canaanite worship, that they were addicted to Baal worship, which was conducted by the priests in the temples, and then says high places had chambers for sacred prostitution by male prostitutes and sacred harlots, which, by the way, that was, the term sodomite?
Yeah.
The, yeah, like that, what that would be used in a King James translation in certain areas. But that's not what the translation should be, because the Hebrew is kedashim, and then the one that they try, I think that in the King James they translate it as a whore or something along those lines. It was the feminine version, kedeshoth. So kedashim, kedeshoth, basically the different pronouns of male prostitutes and female prostitutes that were of these cults. So there was something that was interesting that I discovered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so prior to the formation of Christianity, sex was actually something that was celebrated. Paganism, other, if you want to call them religions, beliefs,
Right.
systems, what have you, celebrated sex. They celebrated sex. They celebrated women, and that was, and as I, like I said, I really explored different religions and stuff like that, and sort of the why do they say this now, or where does this come from?
Right.
Obviously, I found a lot of bastardization of pretty much all of them, but when I delved back, quite a bit, it was actually very, very interesting to me. It was like, it was not this super strict, super like it wasn't what it is now, and they were just kind of like live, let live. You know, celebrate yourself, celebrate your body, celebrate your other bodies, you know, whatever. So it was very interesting finding that aspect of things. Sorry, I just saw your chat. I was like, that does sound very. You're next. So that definitely sounded.
Well, don't worry about those
Yeah,
guys.
no, I meant to close the window. So it was very interesting seeing all that. It still wasn't enough to get me to subscribe to any of those, but watching the how modern Christianity was formed and how they sort of grabbed bits and pieces from all these pre-Christian religions was very very interesting to me, and theology and things like that were definitely an interest. It was part of trying to find out who I was and where my place was. I didn't want to make decisions uninformed, which again,
Right.
kind of going back to that scientific process. um, but it definitely, and even now, still at times gives me major points of contention because I still see people using those same old false statements from the Bible and
Mhm.
what have you to subjugate others.
Right.
So I
Which
think I made
again,
the right choice.
right. Like to me, but to me, like if I see someone like trying to like for example, oh, man, got some.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Um, I grew up in the Bible Belt, and there are some people, of course, that within that area, hoping it's starting to turn around since due to the rise of the growth for Reformed theology, there. But there's some people that I've met there that think, like for example, the whole especially ever since 9/11, the whole thing in the interest in Islam and the study on Muslims has caused a lot of people to either want to do the study for themselves in the actual sources or get their news from Fox and CNN. Um, and as to what they say, and some of the people I meet are just like saying, and this was even asked at the Southern Baptist Convention, a denomination that I'm a part of, like saying they asked a guy, well, about Muslims, they some of these guys believe in some strange things. Do you honestly believe that they should deserve rights to practice in their religion? I think as a Christian, we should make a policy to block being a Muslim and stop being a Muslim. And guys like, well, I'm just sorry to say this, sir, but you're going against the Bible when you say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this was said to the guy in front of a crowd of thousands, if not like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So that was what was so assuring, is that there's still people that are at least right-minded, but at the same time, sad that there's still people like that that really, I think most of it is just either like fear, tradition, or just things that they come up with. Like I remember, what was it? Someone like someone said that all babies are, or like all angels are babies, and that when we die, we shrink up and turn back into like babies that for some reason even indicated like the age of between 2 to 4, the age just depending on how wise we were on Earth. Where they get that idea, I don't know. But yeah, it's like, to me, like a lot of the stuff that comes out is, I think, part of just not actually getting into the actual studies of it. And I would agree with what you say, like to study and these things out. In fact, that and I don't know, this is something that I got a physicist friend of mine in Australia who is a Christian, and I forget what he keeps going to the sources, but he keeps like Francis Bacon and all these others. They're like the scientific method and all these things actually do kind of have a inheritance from Christianity in terms of like there was a Bible verse that says to test all things, to prove all things.
Right.
And when Acts chapter 17, Paul is preaching, the Bereans are congratulated or given honor because they didn't just accept what he said at face value. They searched the scriptures to test him to see if, okay, are you saying what you're saying is matching this? Well, we'll test that out.
Right.
So I do definitely.
But you're also talking about the time miracles. I mean, this is when Christ walked to the earth. This is when burning bushes were happening, all of that, that was when all this happened. So it's very different. And I'm not saying that those, well, maybe I am saying they're not happening nowadays, but you don't see and hear. I just try to like picture it if Twitter existed back then, what would have happened? How many retweets would the burning bush get? But we don't see things like that these days.
Right.
So it was important for them, and why it was commanded to judge, or not judge, but to I want to say second guess everything, investigate, and to not, because so many back then, especially back then, so many more people in the time of miracles were claiming false miracles. And so I'm remembering all some stuff. So somebody somewhere, and presumably it was God Almighty, said that may not be a miracle. Like, I didn't do that. He's like, so you need to be careful, and like, don't believe everything you see in here, which is good advice,
So
yeah.
So like, I've had a couple of furries on here, especially controversial ones. In fact, that's actually the fun thing.
Like who?
Well, the first one I will say was a Christian one that and he was actually the first one I interviewed, because I was trying to always find a representative, and this was the one I could find. Aaron Fox.
Aaron.
He's not exactly well known, but he actually has gotten a shout out on Majira's channel, and Majira's been in a couple of
Erin?
Aaron.
Aaron Fox.
Wait, what? Who's?
Hold on.
Aaron.
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what. There's a character who's.
I don't know them all. So, and as much as I decree the drama that happens in the fandom, I don't follow all of it. Right. It's just when it starts spilling over to my timeline that I'm like, I could just mute and block or whatever, but I just, let's switch it up a bit. So yeah.
But yeah, he's up and coming. He's rising. And the thing is, this guy's like in high school or something like that, and is already getting out there, being popular, and even has a game that he's working on.
Makes YouTube skits and vlogs. I also love drawing, voice acting, filming. Oh, good for him. Yep. That's awesome.
And I also appeared in the Christmas video as the.
You said he was controversial?
No, I didn't say he was a controversial.
Oh, okay.
I said he was like the first one, and he was a Christian.
Oh my God! Look at his suit. Look at his fursuit head. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He made that himself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I respect anyone that even tries to do that, because I cannot not even do it. Well, I've got to check him out. Yeah.
Cute. Yeah. And then, but that was the first.
That's good for news.
That's hey, there you go.
Hey, there you go.
So that was the first one. It was a very polite, good discussion.
Yeah.
Then the next two come off with the interesting. These two were definitely controversial figures. None other than Len Gilbert and Foxler. We went straight for the hornet's nest on that one. And that's where definitely a lot of the had to branch it out to, like, just not make it just your casual episode. We're like definitely going to make it something. Len, that was the interesting thing. Like, at least with you and me, we managed to actually like get far on our conversations.
Right.
Only thing that he didn't really want to go into as much as I tried, like poking the nest. He said he was like what was it? A Germanic pagan of some sort.
Germanic. Oh, okay. I think you said dramatic. Kind of like that's an understatement.
That would be an interesting I wonder, like, you have Germanic and then you have Norse, but then you have dramatic pagan.
They don't just, like, use blood in rituals. They just kind of fling it everywhere, like they're spilling a drink.
Yeah, and when they go to pray, they hold out the skull and then go.
Right. It's very Shakespearean.
Yeah, Shakespeare. Yeah, they always have to be, instead of Latin, Shakespearean tongue. So there's that. But I think the farthest I got was the Foxler one, because we actually got 2 issues. And afterwards, I actually, like, hey, I got some literature that I want to mailed to your house.
Uh-huh.
You'd be fine with that." And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so he's got that. Of course, though, the, the thing is with those two, like I used to know him for a bit,
Hmm.
but due to some controversy that, of course, started, and of course, this is before the main thing happened. I'm talking like this happened at like if you were in like their Telegram groups, that's the only thing you would know
Yeah,
how what
I
this
avoid
whole
those
thing is.
with the
So
burning shit. Yeah.
yeah, so something that happened in there,
Hmm.
I didn't want to have to be a part of that, so
Right.
split off from that because I
Yeah, and
just
I
couldn't
hear
trust
more
it.
and more of people making that decision, because they just kind of go a little too far with it. Um,
Well, to
yeah.
me, and Foxler, sorry if you're watching, but to me, it's just like I think Foxler kind of does it for attention because there's times he actually does things where he's a nice guy, like he's got a good heart almost at times,
Then
but
why not make that the focus? Why do
Mhm.
something incredibly outrageous to get attention? That's not positive
Yeah,
attention. No. That
yeah,
is not healthy. Is the only way to put
exactly.
it. It's not healthy.
And that's why, as you mentioned, like the best thing to do is to confront him one on one. While people were doing this whole thing, just calling out or blocking him, I like went to the Telegram and like confronted him on something he said, and said, "Dude, I know what you actually mean,
Yeah.
but you got to stop with your wording of this because you are. It's obvious that you're trying to put it in such a way that something's going to happen, and you know it. Um, and so yeah,
Yeah.
but to get from that, like that's just in general, those are the people that I've interviewed, and so I guess you would be my fourth furry.
Hmm.
Um, so you're definitely like in the top five for sure now.
Yes.
So,
However, next week.
however, next week, uh, we somehow get to interview a missile.
Well,
We'll
I'm
see.
in interesting company, that's for sure.
Indeed, like so.
Yeah, that was something I followed. I didn't get involved in at all.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just that's not my crowd. I
yeah,
definitely would say I lean way further left.
yeah. That,
Um,
mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Like here's the thing, I lean right, but when people like to me I think that's like a lot of people are like, especially on the right, don't like today and where like people are usually if someone like for example wears a MAGA hat, they're either had those videos where they've been assaulted or just being told to get out of the stores or anything like that. They
Right,
don't like that. But oh wait, at the same time, let's go ahead and do the same thing right back. I think that's
right. Let's throw ours on and go run through a crowd of drive through a crowd of people.
right.
So when people, and this is actually a current kind of topic and debate that's going on, in some hemispheres of the political world and whatnot,
Hmm.
and in the media and what have you, is because of the kids that were
Oh,
just
you talking about
mentioned.
Covington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and people are trying to explain, as people on the left or middle left or what have you are trying to explain, this hat is not a good symbol,
Hmm.
because it's now associated with all of these negative things, and you should be aware that it really is. And I think someone kind of made the comparison to, like, it's the new hood, it's the new white hood, because of people being run over during protests, people getting beat down, especially people of color,
Right.
are getting beat up by people like, and if you look at the news, recent news, they just went to jail for it. People of color getting beat up with by people wearing the red hat or now the white hat,
Hmm.
um, which is kind of ironic that they decided to go ahead and release a white version. Um, but so that's when people are like, yeah, you know what? You wearing that hat is actually an attack on me, because it means that when you got out of bed this morning and you put that hat on, you made a conscious decision to ignore all of this stuff. Either not saying so, well, you made a conscious decision to either support all of this stuff that has happened around that hat, or you've at the very least made the decision to ignore the stuff that's happened involving
Hmm.
that hat. And so people do feel attacked. I mean, I see that hat and I go, "Ugh," not in a I'm going to go beat somebody up way, But
Right.
wow, this person's probably a dickhead, and I don't even want to look at them,
Yeah.
sort of way. And that's what and because there's just that sort of thing has happened. I'm sure there's probably things that I don't know. I can only speak for my side.
Right. I think that's the best thing. Like, because to me, I don't see things as like a representation. Like, someone in a fandom, or someone in a group, or someone in even like a clique at school or something like that should be like a representation for some people. I think we all need to like represent ourselves.
Right,
Um,
right.
because otherwise,
Symbolism though is very powerful,
oh yeah.
and that's what this has become. It's become a symbol.
Which, by the way,
And yeah,
since you mentioned the Covington thing,
yeah.
you heard about, like, because this is actually funny compared to that chat that you looked at earlier, the
Oh yeah,
live.
yeah. Mhm.
So what one of the things they're saying was like why the kids were shouting was
I've heard so many freaking spins on this thing. I'm not lying. I kind of got to the point where I did have to tune
like
out the mainstream
primarily. Did you
media
see
over it.
what was the one that smiled? I think what was his name, Nathan or something like.
Nathan, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what
I
his
won't
score
lie.
was?
I thought he looked like a little jerk, but whatever.
Yeah, like
With
I've
no context,
yeah
like he just looked like a jerk.
yeah it did. He
You don't have to agree. Yeah, you're just saying that's
like to
what
me it
I
kind
feel
of
like
did
it
look
is.
snarky, but
Like,
then
yeah,
when I read his story, like he did agree that he wished he could have like found a better way, but like he was basically trying to do like what me and you try to do.
yeah,
Like he wanted to diffuse the situation, and even tried like at times
yeah.
telling them to calm down
Yeah.
because all he
Well,
wanted.
there were multiple groups involved, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
the spider web that I haven't been able to quite uh, unweave yet.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, so like what was that group of Catholics doing in Washington wearing MAGA hats?
I think it was like a
Um,
school trip from what they said.
right, and a lot of majority of the schools that I know won't
Hmm.
allow you to wear stuff like that because of the
Yeah.
separation.
Hmm.
It's school policy. Like you can't wear it. Now it may have been waived because they were outside of school. I don't know.
Right.
It just seemed weird that a bunch of Catholic kids were running around in MAGA hats.
Huh.
And then there were was it Black Muslims? Black Muslim? Black
No,
Israelites? Israelites.
yeah, Black Hebrew Israelites, which that was the
He,
thing. If you
thank you.
saw
Okay.
the guy that says that he's saying that
I
I'm
have
next.
not seen anything about them yet. I didn't watch anything yet.
Right. No, I'm talking about in
Because
the live
honestly, I
chat.
started focusing on the website. So
Right.
and then the Indian guy who says that he was just he saw this weird thing starting to happen,
Yeah.
so he went in to just sort of put himself in the middle of it, and then he got involved, and then there's these weird pictures of what looks like a standoff. So that's
Yeah.
kind of all I really do know about it. But because of that, I'm not passing any ultimate judgment on the situation. Just that.
Right.
But what I will say is, the media were really messed up.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, and I will say I'll do the both sides thing. Like they
Yeah.
instantly tried to take it and
Mhm.
spin it for their own purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no, I'm good. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if there had been a confrontation, like if some
Mhm.
left person had gotten in their faces, I could, it goes back to that whole hat situation. There's a group, a mob of people, what looks like, even if they are kids, you don't know until you get right up to them. A mob of people
Yeah.
wearing MAGA hats, and you're just like, okay, great. Is this,
Mhm.
are these the Proud Boys again?
Yeah. Hopefully not the Proud Boys.
It looks like the children of the Proud Boys. Although I don't think the Proud Boys could afford those kids from the looks of it.
Probably, yeah. But like the reason why I was trying to bring that was that
Yeah. So
the group that you mentioned that you did get right, which I'm surprised that you actually did, because like I'm surprised that now the media recognizes that this group exists, since like they've been around since the 80s. The Black Hebrew Israelites. That was the main reason why they were shouting, because that when they decided to protest there, and if you watch any of their like their
oh yeah, it's
quote
the
unquote
pro-life.
spring
Yeah,
breaking.
that's right. That was the other group I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Right pro-life.
when they go there, the Black Hebrew Israelites, they mostly just their whole goal is, according to them, is to witness to the 12 tribes of Israel, which they believe, like, if you're African American, oh, you're not an African. That's a lie. You're actually from the tribe of Judah, and you come from Israel.
Right, but but they consider themselves the 13th tribe.
Well, that's
Or is
interesting
it
thing.
11 to 12 or 12 to
It
13?
It's only 12. Recently,
Okay.
they added something that says like scattered about thing, but that's only an IUIC as far as like that's the other thing. I
Okay.
decided to look into these guys, but like before that, they were calling white people a bunch of names,
Right.
because they also have either like if you're like Chinese or Japanese or German or anything like that, they have names for those because they think that the God hates you and that when uh, Black Jesus is going to come back, he's going to slay you, and whenever you're dead, then you go to heaven where you become the slaves of these uh, uh, 12 tribes.
Okay.
And apparently, before that guy came in with the drum to enter the circle, they were calling the Native Americans that were there. And I guess this was their whole joke on the whole Uncle Tom thing. They were calling them Uncle Tomahawks. It's basically calling them sellout Indians that
Yeah.
need to die.
Yeah.
And so they were definitely trying to antagonize, and they didn't like. And then they changed their attitude as soon as the guy came in saying, "Well, here comes Gad," which to them Gad is one of the other 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay.
They believe that that's the Native Americans.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
See, it goes back to religion just fucks things up.
Well, I would say that this specific one doesn't, but yeah, like so.
No, I don't actually fully believe that. I think it is
Right.
definitely a major source of a lot of problems, but not every problem.
Right.
People mess things up. Hold on one second. I'm just doing a quick once over here. Yeah, I was looking at the Wikipedia on them and just to
Yeah.
get a feel, but there's going to be some reading to do here to educate myself on.
Yeah, and if you ever need an expert on it, I've done a lecture on it before, and I actually know a couple of guys. If you ever like want to do something like that, but then again, of course, that's in your spare time.
Hebrew, for the most part, was very Gentile. Like, was very. I think that's counter Hebrews, Gentiles and Hebrews.
Right, like the ones you have in Israel right now.
Yeah, but I thought that for the most, I mean, it was very. I don't want to say peaceful, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I know there's infighting over there, between the two groups, but
Mhm.
even still, I figure they would be more.
Well,
I'm
these
trying to find the
guys.
word I'm looking for, like nice.
Well, these guys, the
Others.
Black Hebrew Israelites,
Mhm.
they're basically part of the like a cultic type of movement that mostly stemmed out from, of course, as they kind of were in the 70s, and like Black Panther and all that kind of came out. They kind of were based off of that growth within due to the racism that was there,
Mhm.
and so a lot of their doctrines that they have are actually kind of based off of like things like that. Like they believed, one of them at least, a camp that is in its minority called GMS.
Okay.
They believe that someone can actually, if you're an Israelite and there's another Israelite that has a daughter, they believe you can just go up and that person can be raped, that daughter can be
Right.
raped, and that you, as a fellow quote unquote Israelite, should not complain or do anything as long as reproduction comes out of it. Like that's how messed
So
up.
they would be sort of the equivalent to like extreme evangelicals, Christian evangelicals.
Well, yeah, kind
In
of.
some
Yeah,
ways.
they're
I mean,
definitely
they're
like,
just like, no, this is how it is. This is the interpretation, the only interpretation,
yeah,
and we're going
and
to, yeah,
mhm.
kind of.
And it depends what the camp, because like I said, GMS is really the only one that believes that.
Mhm.
And then there's a group called Sakari, which that seems to be the guy that's in the live chat because he keeps mentioning his name, saying that uh, I would imagine what Sakari is gonna do to y'all, and that's a specific group that's very hostile, very violent, and they've been known to just like point out to random people, say, "You see that white person? Go run and beat him up. You'll be rewarded in heaven." Like that kind
So
of.
I'm learning. So I'm taking this all in. This is interesting because, like I said, these religions weren't necessarily ones that I had explored, and
Well, this is new, like very new.
right, but even basic Muslim and
Yeah.
Judaism,
Hmm.
I didn't go into too much when I was kind of researching things when I was younger. So it's been very interesting, and especially with the political environment, and
Yeah.
I know it's shifted to a different section of people. 2 years ago it was Muslims and border. We have to secure borders from them, and now we have to secure borders from Mexico and secure borders. Da, 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 da. But I mean, even prior to that, the Muslim language, Muslim religion was brought up a lot. It seems like
I'm not gonna lie. I heard Muslim, and then I
Muslim.
think of like imagine like that, like for a persona of a Muslim that had
moose,
it's a
like a moose.
like
hey,
like,
it can happen. Yeah.
Like I think the main thing it would have to be like the male with like the regular outfit, because if I could think of like a burqa, like that's definitely gonna figure out, okay, what animal is this? Well, obviously from the outlines here on around the head area that's lifting up the skirt a bit there, it's easy to tell this is a moose, and the antlers.
Okay, because I'm getting my it's totally spelled that wrong. Because I'm getting ISIS, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about extreme religious groups.
Right.
They're Muslim, but they're another like offshoot. So what are they called? Remind me.
So ISIS is not a denomination. ISIS is a
right. That's an organization.
Right, it's an organization.
It's a designation that we gave them.
Right.
It's a military designation.
Right. And so ISIS, they're trying to do something, try to affirm something called the caliphate, and that is, like the Islamic ruling, which they believe is still ongoing. And they'll go around and do these things because they believe they can have. And here's where I think Islam has the problem. Okay. There are actual sources that you can go to in the Quran, the Hadith, and in some of the tafsir literature from Islamic scholars that do support the things they do.
Right.
But at the same time, you will also find things like, for example, the people that says, no, Islam is religion of peace and that we need to condemn these guys. You will find sources that are consistent and are authentic that will likewise say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it gets problematic in the religion, is because they can find something that is in the Quran that supports it, and then they can go to the Hadith. And there, this is where it always gets tricky, especially for someone that's trying to just outright condemn Islam, is that they have gradings of these hadith, and if it's sahih, that's Arabic meaning authentic, then that means this is 100% unquestionably true. There is no doubts on it in the historical method, and so there's authentic in both their sides that can support their cases. So yeah, but like ISIS is
the religion as a whole is trying to sort of progress and become more modern, if you will, more forward thinking, whatnot. And then you have this group that's saying no, 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 no.
Right.
Like, the written rule is law, and that's that, and we're going to fight you over this.
Right, like, because they believe that Muhammad is the perfect character of conduct, and therefore how he lived his life, no matter the culture, should reflect upon future generations. That's why, especially with some of the garb that they wear, that's why they wear it, because he wore this, and it was for not just practical purposes, but also sort of divine wisdom purposes as well. So they'll sometimes go with that. But yeah, like I feel like I'm like in a classroom, like
I know, yeah.
Like, because I noticed you said,
just you're like, oh wow, this is really interesting, and
you said you were taking notes earlier too.
You're right. I was looking things up. So, and I just wanted, and that was pretty much how I viewed it, because unfortunately I have some people in my life that buy into the scare tactics when it comes to the Muslim religion and Muslims in general. And so I have to explain to them, the difference, and try to educate them and say no, because they'll play the gay card with me. They'll like, well, they throw gay people off roofs. I'm like, they string us up in the freaking park here, so those are Muslims though.
Right.
Sorry, I should rephrase that. Muslims don't. Christians string us up in, quote unquote, string us up in the parks here. They tie us to fence posts and drag us behind cars here in America. So, so are you saying that that's the entire of Christianity? And that usually shuts them up sometimes.
Right. But that's why there is
you're not there, you don't know how this works.
But yeah, there is actually again, one of the hadith sources where it's basically quoting a guy named Ibn Abbas, who was an interpreter of the Quran, is interpreting a verse where it says the people of Sodom or the people of Lot. That's the word they use to describe homosexuals in the Quran. Do not let them live. And according to him, his interpretation is the best way to follow through with this is take them to the highest of the rooftops in the city and throw them off.
Right.
So that's where they would get that.
Right. Yeah. That's.
But again, as I mentioned, there's also sources that would contradict that the other side can go to, which is
I have friends that are of Muslim of the Muslim persuasion. I don't know that adhere to the Muslim code, and none of them have tried throwing me off the roof.
That was exactly what I was about to say. Is like they did throw you off, though.
They did throw me off the roof. I'm like, I'm still here, so yeah.
Imagine if they did throw you off the roof, but like you land on a trampoline.
It's just a big practical joke. Yeah, we play around like this all the time. This is our relationship.
Yeah, that should be like the next like if they try to do that, like, because again, I'm like against like this whole like very strong anti-Muslim whole polemic as just say that they throw gay people through. It's like, yeah, they're right, because they did take me to the roof and they threw me off, and then I landed on a trampoline and I did like 3 backflips. So
oh no, that was the circus. Oh. Yeah, it's just generalizing is never a good thing. So
yeah. Well, I can definitely say this. You're definitely probably one of the most interesting theological discussion people I've had on here that's able to talk about this in a way that we obviously have our disagreements on things, but we're being very civil and friendly.
Well, yeah, you have to be. You don't change minds and hearts by beating them over the head with the Bible.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. Like,
I can say that from experience. I dated someone whose parents literally beat him over the head with the Bible.
Ooh, man. I gotta ask if it was like
hardcover. Did not go well.
I can imagine.
Yeah. No, it was like the big, sturdy, heavy family Bible. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
heirloom like that. Probably packed with like report cards and baby photos.
Yeah, that's like the M60 of Bibles.
Right.
Like that's how like if someone like, and if you watch like the Q&A show I do, or like some sort of things, like I'll usually say this to people, like if they say something that like just either gets me or they're trying to tease me, like, don't make me come over there. I will show you the meaning of Bible thumper. I will take my Bible, throw it through the window, and do a ricochet like a boomerang and come strike you right in the back of the head. Like I just, yeah, like I try to do that and like just make it as cringy as possible. One time I said like had a what did I call it? A Bible thumper launcher or something like that.
Bible bazooka.
Yeah, like a Bible bazooka.
And be like Oprah's word.
And I'll be like Oprah's like, you get a Bible, you get a Bible.
Right. Who are you? It's good times.
Man. Yeah, good times.
It's one of those, again, you don't have to subscribe to it to be able to talk about it. I don't think closing yourself off to any discussions, any conversations is a really good thing. Sure, are very uncomfortable. I just actually did a interview, the Macho Man. Sorry, I just saw your chat. I'm like, oh no, here we go. Anyway, I just did an interview with a member of the trans community, furry trans community, and there were certain questions where I'm like, oh my god, how do I ask this? And I'm like, I think I'm an ally. I support causes. I try to lift voices. I'm there. I'm not just the guy that's like, oh, I have friends. So, but I was still like, this is not me, and this is not any experience I've ever had in my entire life. So
how do I talk to them? And you know
Yeah.
what? You just talk to them. You know, and it's actually a really good post. They actually gave some tips on like, you know, because I asked like, what are the big do's and don'ts of, you know, discussing issues with a trans person? And there's
Right.
some great information on there. So
All right. I'm
it's like,
definitely
phew.
I'm gonna have to look into that one.
You
So
should. You should.
that does bring me to something though. Like that was the recent post, right?
Yeah, that was today's post.
So what are your future plans that you got coming up?
Well, I got a few things in the works, so you know what? I'll go ahead and say tomorrow, since it's already almost that time. Well, if you're a coffee contributor or donator, what I don't know what they actually call it. If you bought a coffee for us, you get the next day's article or the next article to go up a day early. So whoever's already bought us a coffee can already see tomorrow's article.
Nice.
But and not to take away from that, tomorrow I did an interview with a furry Twitch streamer, goes by the name of Keat Fox. Keats. Just Keat.
Pete.
AIIT. I said Keat Fox, but it's not. Locke. Keat Locke.
Oh, Kit Lock.
Yeah, Kit Locke, but it's Keat.
Oh
It's
my.
Keat.
Oh,
Kit Locke.
I love.
Yeah. So you know, see.
Yeah.
So we talked about Twitch streaming and his experience with that, and he gives some advice to people that are interested in getting into streaming. And then we talked about a new website that they developed so that you can find other furry Twitch streaming. It is called furry.watch. And it basically takes all the furry Twitch streamers and aggregates them into one place. Because Twitch got rid of the communities feature. So it's kind of harder to find other streamers, like-minded streamers, because you can't just join a community and everyone's in the same one. So they basically recreated that functionality on a different website for furries. So that was pretty cool.
Funny enough, as you say this, and I'm looking on his Twitter feed, actually that pops up, and as soon as you say something about it,
they just released it and have been pushing it, and I saw it. I mean, I was going to do an interview with him anyway because he actually came very recommended. And I've watched his stream many times. I lurk, and then like sure enough, like I got 2 emails, one saying talk to Keat, and then another one saying Keat and so Keat and everyone just created this website. You should totally talk to them about it. And it just so happened I was already talking to him. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So.
Kismet.
So we got that should be ready for the next day. Now,
I'm ready.
All right. So let me ask you this then, because you've got this whole thing planned out. You've got your life ahead. You just now. I don't know if this is the first time y'all done an interview, to help promote this.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself? Give you 5 years. Where do you see yourself with this?
Trying to get through this week. And taking it one day at a time right now. Because, you know, things change, times change, moods change, all kinds of stuff. You know, I can have some like fun, playful ideas of, it would be kind of neat to do this later on. But in terms of like solid plans, it's like just keep doing what we're doing right now, master that. Because it's a lot of work and there's a lot of organizing that needs to get done. Because this took off way faster than I was expecting it to. Way faster. And so focus on the now. Get things organized. Keep trying to do the good. I think it's good work that I've been doing so far. Improve upon that, and then maybe throw in some fun stuff as we go along. So like maybe a weekly video thing or podcast thing, or I don't know.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, we can review. Yeah, I don't know yet. So it's just gonna be play it by ear. I have 2 very big ears.
I like that.
So a lot that can happen.
As I've seen, do you get that from the Fox side of you or the Husky side?
That would be the Fox side. Yeah, Husky would probably be a little more floppy.
Floppy ass.
which I think would be great. But
So we're I did say this, and I think that some of the people might just be disappointed if we just ended without going through with it. But you heard me doing the Christopher Walken earlier, so
right,
I think it's only fair that we give like 8 minutes, like about the rest, like about 8 minutes, just us going through different like impersonations that we each can do. Because surely,
I don't even know. I mean, yeah, like I said, that's usually a Friday night after like a lot of drinks, sort of thing for me. So, you know, you do yours.
I'll start.
You do
I'll
yours.
give
I'll
you like,
repeat. How about that?
I'll give you some inspiration for that. So he actually mentioned that when you saw that Hebrew, Black Hebrew Israelite guy in the chat, it said Macho Man. I can actually, funny enough, I can actually do a good or a kind of a bit of a Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation.
Okay.
Okay. It just started with I got a Slim Jim from the gas station, and next thing I know, I come up to work, and I go to this one coworker, and I just go out of nowhere with it, and be like, "Oh yeah, snip into a Slim Jim, oh yeah."
There you go.
And then I just kept annoying people because it wasn't just that. I then tried to do like, because I kept listening to all them things, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan, you better watch out, cause you made a lot of promises, and I'm gonna let you know I'm funky like a monkey 360. Oh yeah, I'm the cream of the crop, rise to the top."
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, oh man. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't really bring any to mind right now. Like,
like who? Like, what's a favorite actor that you would have had then?
Oh
like,
well, I
actor.
definitely love doing Christopher Walken. I mean, that one's always fun. He's see, now I can't do it. I'm like put on the spot. I'm usually this is me in VR chat, like after drinking, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, the one that I always do is the wow. Like, wow.
Oh,
the
wow. Like, just look at all the movies where I wonder if he's self-aware that he does that.
Yeah, and then that kind of leads into the Christopher Walken. Wow, you know.
Wow. Like,
wow.
There's a problem. It needs more cowbell.
Cowbell. Yeah. What else?
Then there's what about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
yeah.
I am the Terminator. You need to come with me.
I just don't have the energy level for it. I don't.
Oh, come on, you have to do it. It's simple.
Do it now.
There you go. Loud. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
See, you got it.
Yeah. Oh no.
See, we just gotta improvise and have some fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Wait a minute. Are these? No. Never mind. Sorry.
What? But you?
So I'm sorry. No, I saw the next up clips, and holy crap! I've got to go. Like, I've got to go watch like a lot of furry videos now because this is not good stuff.
On my up next, I'm seeing the history of Mortal Kombat Part 1.
I'm seeing D-Day from the German perspective.
Wait, what the? What the?
I am seeing Joe Rogan.
Held up, Joe Rogan. Joe's Bizarre Adventure.
On the quote unquote MAGA kids controversy. I like how he put quote unquote. Oh, okay, this one's not so bad. Sean Carroll, The Paradoxes of Time Travel. See, that's all right. That's okay. That's not so bad. Some of these guys just like, why are you showing me this? I'm on the Good for News account, which has not viewed anything video wise or whatnot. So it's just literally showing me random stuff. Yeah. Who's Sparkle?
I keep watching
vaccines left out of Surviving R. Kelly. Oh, okay.
That.
I'm like, context.
When I hear Sparkle, I can't help but think of 7 Deadly Sins.
Ooh, yeah.
And the character Gother in that show, for some reason now, since the second season and the recent movie they did, just does his pose, like anime girl pose, like Sailor Moon, and says "Sparkle."
Right. Yeah.
It's in the English
Yeah.
dub. I don't know what he
Yeah.
says in Japan.
7 Deadly Sins. That's such a good one. Like,
Oh yeah,
it has its like moments, but yeah.
yeah. Bond's got to be my favorite. The good old Bond.
Uh-huh.
And so, let me think. Gilbert Gottfried's a hard voice to do. That's for sure.
The what?
Gilbert Gottfried, he's a hard
Oh
voice.
yeah, no, yeah.
Found out that's not even his real voice.
No, isn't that funny?
Yeah,
I've done that for years though. So yeah, I was there when he was the parrot in Aladdin. That's all I'm gonna say. Alex Jones to release the secrets of Bird Box. Sorry,
Wait, what?
This could be a whole podcast in and of itself. It's just me going through these recommended videos and judging. Like YouTube, you do not know your audience at all or care, apparently.
Well, if you said that like it doesn't do anything, like you haven't looked any videos up yet, then
Yeah.
obviously
I want to leave it. I want to leave it. I want to log out of the account and just leave it and see what shows up every time I log in here.
That'd be it. Like you could use that for the podcast. Like, okay, what random
video
stuff
of what showed up in my in my auto playlist.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
There's like a lot of stuff that they're doing nowadays, like in live action now that they've got the Lion King coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And they've
Lion King, Aladdin,
and then Jungle Book.
Jungle Book they did, which was actually pretty cute. It took me a second to realize because I didn't look up anything about it, but I actually just watched it. So it's been out for a while, or I just only watched it a week or two ago. And it took me a while to figure out that was Bill Murray as Baloo. And I was just like, that is freaking perfect. I've always loved Baloo. Baloo was my favorite, like, forever. And I just love him even more now. Like, you did not ruin that for me at all. Thank you.
I'm surprised he's still acting. That guy is old.
Yeah, he's getting up there. There's a good documentary. I think it's a documentary series on Netflix as well about Bill Murray. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely going to.
You've already inspired me to binge.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, big fan of Bill Murray.
Last thing I think I want to talk about then is this, because I don't know, I just got seen some clips of it. Heard this person kind of got to be a controversial figure, but their artwork has been, and as well as their animation has been pretty good from what I hear as well. To get like 12 something million followers or subscribers, I forget which one I saw that number.
Something crazy.
Vizzy Pop.
It sounds familiar. It's not who I thought you were gonna say.
Who do you think I was gonna say?
I'm not gonna say.
Like
Vizzy Pop.
Yeah, like let me see if I can pull up.
Yeah, I'm learning these things so I know not to cover them.
Like she's an animator, and
everyone that got on my case today, I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm changing.
Like
how do you spell
this
it?
is not going to be seen in the audio format of this podcast, but here's the person created. This person is a artist that created her own show.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the one that I think they're the one that did the Kesha video that I like?
What, the Gonna Die Young?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's I've watched that so many times. Vizzy. Okay, V-I-V. Finally, I know who they are.
But so you never? That's all you ever seen was that Kesha?
Yeah, that's all I know about.
Well, guess what? Yeah. And they announced they already released a trailer like last year, but this year they worked so hard on a new show or movie, and it's going to come out this year.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Shut up.
I ain't shutting up. I'm not going to shut up for a while.
Oh my god! You just shut me up. Oh, that's amazing. But you said there was some controversy?
Yeah, because apparently, what was it? Vizzy Pop drew some fan art of these two girls that were that she enjoyed. Like, though she disagreed with them on stuff, she still appreciated that they were at least able to speak out and be brave to like engage in things. Like that was the main thing that she did. It was, and one of them was a Shoe on Head, who I'm at least familiar with because she's a Canadian that's dating a guy named the Armored Skeptic on YouTube.
Okay.
And a lot of people just find both of them to be like sexist or racist for like they come from a crowd that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
And they just view them as drama queens just simply because they disagree on minor things and they're gonna like just address them like that. But anyways, like that was really the only thing as far as I'm aware, but it was easily able to be washed out given some time. But no, Vizzy Pop is a very good person from what I've seen, and tries to stay on schedule with where they're trying to get at because they've got some good people to get on with the project.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to watch and give it my my review whenever it comes out because the show called Has Been Hotel is, you know, takes place in hell. And of course, I'm going to have my criticism on hell, but the way that they're doing it is that there's this one nice demon there named Charlie who wants to make this hotel to be like a rehab center for the demons that are there. Wants to basically give a chance for a demon to redeem themselves to show that there's good in them that can come out and they can, you know, sort of migrate out of there. So that's what she wants to do, and everyone's like laughing at her, saying, "Oh, you're really going to expect that to come from a bunch of demons that are just inherently evil?" And there's of course a lot of side plots to it, like territorial gangster turf wars between the different demons. But the characters are well animated. They have unique characters in there, like each demon that's there, like they come from a different period of time. Like there's a character named Angel Dust that's a drag queen in hell, but I'm not going to explain because it's very explicit his backstory. But his name is Angel Dust because he died in 1947 of snorting too much of the drug Angel Dust, and so that's how he got the name.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's a demon there named Alistair, who, let me see if I can pull up the thing, like, and he's called the Radio Demon in a clip that Vizzy has released on YouTube. So that's the thing. If you want a sneak peek of what Viz has to offer on the same channel, you can find that Kesha video. You can find clips now that she's releasing as sort of teasers until the actual show is aired online. But this guy named Alistair is a radio demon, and every time he talks, he sounds like he's coming through a 1920s radio thing, and even has the voice for it. And he died in 1933. And so there's a bit of a mystery to him. But like there's at one point where, you know, this one girl keeps worrying about him and says, you know, need to get out. We don't need you hurting any more people. And he's like, oh dear, if I wanted to hurt anyone, I would have done so already. And as soon as that's like, no, I want to help. So like he's definitely a very like diverse character.
Yeah.
And then they had a demon that's so far as what we've been told from the previews, his Hispanic, because at one point she does say some sort of Mexican phrase whenever she's threatening that Alistair guy, and then at some point that Angel Dust guy you know, says, sure, I'll behave, just don't get your taco in a twist. And so she's like, was that you trying to be sexist or racist? Like whichever ticks you off more.
Oh no.
Yeah. So to me, I think it's going to do well. I think it's a show that's, you know, and it's because, as you said, you remembered Vizzy from those things, and this is
seeing them, because that was years ago at this point. I think it was years ago when I first found it. It feels like, yeah. That's awesome. I love hearing success stories like that.
Oh yeah. By the way, just to point out the guy in the live stream says they keep saying, "Stop ignoring me, Esau." Hey, sorry, I have a guest that I'm trying to treat with respect and give them the attention. I don't know if someone came over to your house, you would treat them with respect instead of someone trying to knock on the door saying, "Notice me, senpai." I'm sorry, but senpai's going to have to put you off a hold for a bit. I'll look at your email later. Anyways.
Yeah, Daniel. You tell him.
Yeah.
Damn, Daniel.
Dang, Daniel. So yeah, I mean, you're a swell guy. I like you, and I hope
it's been fun.
I hope that you get to come on here in the future.
Absolutely.
Because and who knows, like I do want you to like find one thing that's going to be interesting. I know a friend from the Christian Furs community on Telegram, and I'm trying to get that scheduled with this what you would call the extreme Christian on in the groups. So this guy that thinks that furries, like that's something seriously wrong. You have a grown man dressed in an animal costume, and I'm like, you don't
because human skin right now is just painful.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
have you seen the world?
Have you tried putting your hand on an oven? That thing hurts. Now, if you have a furry outfit, at least you'll protect your skin.
Oh well, no, because it's plastic and it just melt right to you.
Ooh, good point.
No, I'm talking about like the world just being a dumpster fire.
Oh yeah,
and trying to get away from that for a little while.
But yeah, like
is a very good thing.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like he keeps on saying, grown men dressing in animal costumes, blah, and then something along the lines of, Bible says, don't conform to the world and not love the things of the world. They need to repent. I'm like, well, that's not how you interpret that, but sure.
Oh, look at you, a little hypocrite. Aw.
Yeah, because like there's like a lot of ways that you can go through with him. I actually debate. If you go to like my debate playlist on my channel, I actually debated him once. His name is Jamal Williams, and that'll show you kind of what my friend Jacob, who's the furry, will be dealing with concerning this individual.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yep, and then who knows? Maybe then Jacob will imagine that article being on your thing, like brave Christian furry
confronts alt-right.
like
something.
Well, that's the thing.
Or maybe not alt-right. I'm trying to think of
I don't know, because
that happens every day.
Like what was it? Because this guy believes like Donald Trump was like the devil incarnate and thinks that he's the Antichrist and that the end times is here and he's going to rape our children and all that kind of stuff. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like this guy was like,
well, I mean, I heard that a lot about Obama.
Yeah, imagine
like people thought the world was ending, and I just kind of looked at them like, it's okay, it's just the black man. Like it's okay. Like this is not going to ruin you for life, I hope. Or if it does, then stay the hell away from me, because I don't want that neuroses in my life. But but Trump, I think will. I would say I'd go as far as saying he's the Antichrist, but I mean, we have 800,000 unemployed workers right now, and he's like the job creator, and he's freaking out about border security, yet our airports are understaffed.
Wasn't that one of his promises as well? Because he's like saying that he wants to keep one promise, but at the same time, and of course this is coming from a conservative here, that at the same time he wants to help build jobs when there's also jobs that are being kind of lost.
Let's focus on the manpower that we need. That's another 20,000 jobs that he could create that everyone agrees on. Everyone agrees on. How about the technology specialists that you need to go in and install the technology that's needed? Those are jobs that you would create. The wall is not going to do anything, in terms of the way that he says it will. I'm not saying that it will help in some way, in some areas, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that there is no problem. I'm just saying, he's not smart about it. And there are people who, on both sides, have done their research, have done all of the work for him, and all he needs to do is sign on the dotted line, but his ego is getting in the way.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
That's not a leader. That's
the real solution. The real solution to the wall, if you're gonna build a wall, at least hire the elven troopers to be on standby with arrows. I mean,
yeah.
if you've seen enough
mean-
Lord of the Rings, you'll know they're helpful.
The eyes can actually distinguish between good and evil.
Yep.
So no innocents are lost.
Yep.
Yeah, and they have plenty of lambus bread. So if people are hungry, waiting for their court date to apply for seeds, we know they're not starving in a cage.
Yep. Thank you, J.R. Tolkien,
Right.
for being an inspiration to.
This is why elves should not have left the earth. Look, thanks, elves. Look what you did.
Exactly.
I blame elves.
If I ever were to do something, I would just do it for just for like a funny stunt, like that.
Make Middle Earth elvish again.
Yeah, like or no, like better yet, like there's something like just making random statements. Like that could be it, but remember that guy that wore like the rain boot on his head and said that everyone must. I think he said he was trying to. Everyone needs a pony. Like if he becomes governor, he'll make sure that everyone gets a free pony because everyone.
I remember that, yeah.
And so for me, I would be something like because everybody needs that cheesy cheesy gordita crunch because everyone knows that hot cheese can help soothe your child's stomach and it can also alleviate the rumblies that you have, especially if you have the munchies. So everyone, make sure to, if you elect me, you will get 2 free cheesy gordita crunches every day, as well as a pony and some popcorn and a nice free fursuit because we have to survive the winter and fursuits are the way to go. They're the next step in the future. So, like, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But, if Donald Trump, if Trump says that if Trump managed to get elected without having political experience, and we're going to have Kanye, Oprah.
Jesus, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what it's going to open this up to. I don't think this time around. I don't think 2020. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy. The Democrats are going to pile on whatever they have.
Yep.
I don't see anyone really. I'm sure that there will be contenders against him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they'll get the Republican Party endorsement, but I think that whatever, we'll see what happens there. I just don't see any crazy thing happening. Like another Donald Trump. I think we're still going to deal with Donald Trump. But after that, after the 2020 cycle, 2024, God only knows. I have no idea who's going to run at that point. I think like people are going to like, well, Trump did it, so why can't I? And it's like, I don't know. Like I can't think of anyone worse. Equal? I don't know. Probably. Oh no! I do. The old porn guy. That's who's going to be next. I think that's going to be a 2020 candidate.
Yep.
Jeremy something. I can't think of his name.
Well, either way, we do know that with Trump being president, that's
Ron Jeremy.
A lot of people.
Thank you.
Yeah, yep. So that being said, hey, we're glad to have you, man, and hope that you get to come back. So that
thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
No problem. So those that have tuned in, this is what's your name again?
Haven Fusky.
Haven Fusky. He has a website. It is called Cheesy Crunch Pop. Did I get it right?
Ron Jeremy does. No, don't Google Ron Jeremy, please.
Oh. what was your site called?
Good for FUR news.com.
Yep, goodfurnews.com. So check it out if you want to see positive stuff instead of if you want to get away from drama and call out culture and all that stuff. And especially if you're a furry, you go there. You click. You go up to that address. You type it in, and who knows? You may type it in right now and click out of this and see. There's where it gets cut out right there. All right. So that being said, thank y'all for tuning in, and thank you Fusky for joining us. And until then, we shall see you next time. Till then, I keep saying that a lot, but till then again, this has been RC Apologist. Take care.